Armani says it's using production plants in Italy to make single-use overalls as well for doctors and nurses. Well, with the N95 and surgical mask shortage, fabric masks have been trending, but do they work? The CDC says fabric masks are a last resort for hospitals, kind of a crisis response option when other supplies have been exhausted. That's because N95 masks will filter out 95% of small particles, making them effective against COVID-19. Experts say cloth masks don't guarantee protection against the coronavirus.
If the holes in the leaf are too large, the particle will just go right through them.
Surgical masks are similar to fabric masks because they're loose fitting, but the effectiveness doesn't really come close to those N95 masks.
I want every American to be prepared for the hard days that lie ahead. We're going to go through a very tough 2 weeks.
A dire warning from the president as cases in the U.S. continue to skyrocket. Tuesday was by far the worst day we've seen, with nearly 25,000 new virus cases around the country. A spike from Monday when there were 20 cases, and those were new cases. Now, deaths in the U.S. nearly doubled on Tuesday, with more than 900 people dying from the virus, bringing the total over 4,000. White House officials are predicting between 100 and 240,000 Americans may die by the end of this pandemic. Now, most Americans should be getting a direct payment from the federal government this month from the recently passed stimulus package. And here's a breakdown of those guidelines. Now, individuals whose gross income is less than $75,000 will receive $1,200. Married couples who make less than $150,000, they'll receive $2,400, and families receive $500 for each child. For people who make more, the payment amount is reduced $5 for every $100 in income above the limit. Now, the payment will be deposited directly into the same bank account on your latest tax return. And if you typically don't file a return, you'll need to do so this year in order to get that payment.
While the economy is taking a hit during this outbreak, consumers can find lower gas prices throughout the country. AAA says nationwide, the average for a gallon of gas is now below $2. St. Louis, even lower, hovering around $1.90. AAA expects prices to drop another 25 cents over the next month. The drop is due to a lack of demand and a price war on oil between Russia and Saudi Arabia. President Trump has rolled back fuel efficiency standards. His administration says the new rules could cut the average cost of a car by $1,000. But according to the New York Times, the plan also clears the way for nearly 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide to be released. Former President Obama criticized the decision, saying, quote, "We can't afford any more consequences of climate denial," end quote. Well, coming up next on News 4, spreading smiles with a song. We'll tell you how one local